A whole week goes by after I give Mrs. James the very convincing report Cora and I wrote. When I read it to my mom, she said her university students couldn't have done a better job. Cora and I used the computer and my tree book from the library, and we found some pretty good stuff. I mean information. I was right about squirrels depending on giant old trees like the one that used to be at the school. Big trees provide shelter, safety from predators, especially predators like Sloan that can't climb, and food. We found out squirrels are nuts about nuts. When the report was finished, I was sure it would earn the school a new tree. In room 2C, our habitat projects are really looking great. On Wednesday, Miss Filippo assigns each group an area of the classroom. The meeting place is now the Arctic. The front of the room turns into a rainforest with vines and even a fake anaconda snake its way over the door. AJ, Tessa and I start to turn the book nook into a desert. On Thursday, Tessa brings in a great inflatable cactus she found at the everything for a dollar store. I have three big zip-closed bags of sand from Thomas's sandbox and an old plastic tablecloth so the custodian doesn't throw a fit. AJ comes in with some great dead weeds that look like tumbleweeds if we roll them into a ball. So far Stewart isn't helping much. He brings in some chicken bones. When I get to school on Thursday morning, Mrs. James and her great big glasses are waiting for me. I don't have any signs today, I tell her. I don't tell her that I have been thinking about holding another convincing to convince the PTA to hurry up and make a decision about my tree. I mean, the school's trees. That's good news, Mrs. James does that sighing thing again. Actually, I have news for you. I squint a little. It's something I do when I am trying to guess what someone is about to say. Good news or bad news? A little of both, Mrs. James replies. Which would you like to hear first? I sigh too. Hit me with the bad. My dad always says to take the bad first, so that the good helps the bad not feel quite so bad. The PTA allocated all their funds for the fall to the school harvest festival. Allo what? I asked. Allocated, Mrs. James says. It means the money they have is already spoken for. Oh, that is the bad news. No money means no trees. Okay, so what is the good news then? I asked. Well, one of the parents on the Harvest Festival committee is also the member of the Granite City Garden Club. They have agreed to donate a tree to our school. Hey, my convincing work, I think. My voice is louder than it is supposed to be inside school. But who is Mrs. James going to report me to? She is the principal. Mrs. James is smiling now. Yes, and just as you requested in your very thorough report, it will be white oak. Good, because red oaks die really quickly from oak wilt. I know, Lucy, you did the research and we appreciate that. Thank you. You are welcome, I said proudly. And, says Mrs. James, we are planning a tree planting ceremony tomorrow afternoon. I wondered if you and Cora would like to represent the students at the ceremony. I think for a long time. Will I get to give a speech? No, Lucy, no speeches. Okay, I'll do it, but Mrs. James' eyebrows show up over her glasses again. Do they have to plant the new tree in the exact same place as the old tree? Mrs. James thinks for a minute. No, I suppose not. Is that a better place? Is there a better place? Oh yes, it should be planted right outside the windows of the second grade classroom. Well, Lucy, I'll see what can be done, says Mrs. James. It is settled. I'll see you tomorrow afternoon at 3 o'clock in front of the store. On my way inside, I have to remind myself to use walking feet. I cannot wait to tell Cora about the new tree. But how do you plant a giant oak tree? It is going to take some mighty big equipment.